Well, hello everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to Live and Learn English with Rosario. I'm very happy to make this video because it is the first video in a new section that I'm very fond of, which is pedagogy and pedagogical practices, not just for the English classroom, but also the intention is that they are applicable to any classroom of secondary or even upper secondary education. And the idea of this video, I came up with it while learning and when reading an article of a Spanish newspaper that I will quote later on, of course, about pedagogy and emotions in the classroom after being part of online teaching, of an online teaching process. So I quote the title of the article so that you may have a look at it if you are interested. And the article is entitled Vuelta a clase, estos son los desafíos emocionales y psicológicos de alumnos y profesores. Basically, the emotional and psychological challenges for both students and teachers after being part of online teaching and coming back to our, let's say, regular or common classrooms. So the article focuses on the work of a specialist on psychology, on positive psychology and emotions, who I'm sure you have heard of him. He's Andy Cope, the author of The Art of Being Brilliant, and the article gives some pointers as to how to handle emotions and positive psychology in our classroom, which I want to mention here today because I thought that they were really useful for our current situation. We need to be realistic, we need to be aware that having a mask in our classroom, it is, let's say, a kind of barrier to our face. It is more difficult for us, as teachers and for students, to perceive how you feel or your attitude towards some behavior, towards everything. So we need to resort to other resources to balance this difficulty. And for that purpose, we need to be aware of some details. One of them is the 4-minute rule, which maybe you have heard about, and I think it's very important. According to psychology and in the psychological realm, researchers and research studies have come to the conclusion that whenever we step into space, people who are already in have or will need just 4 minutes to perceive your attitude and how you feel in this situation or in this context. If we bring that conclusion into the classroom, we as teachers need to be conscious that students will perceive or will catch how you feel in just 4 minutes. So the question is, what can we do as teachers so as to transmit this positive psychology and positive feelings in the classroom? Well, the article mentions strengthens how verbal and non-verbal language is a key part of this process. We need to be conscious of the fact that how we move in the classroom, it's very important that we should look at every direction, not just looking straight and forgetting about our sides of the classroom, of course, and also verbal language. We need to use inclusive language. It means that we may be explaining, for example, English teacher, we maybe explain a grammar point or the instructions for our tasks, but we need to engage students in our language, maybe using indirect questions that we may even answer ourselves, but it's just okay. We need to pay attention. We as students, we are part of his or her explanation, and this is very important to make them feel included with our verbal and non-verbal language. Another point which I think is really interesting and enlightening is positive psychology and how Andy Cope defines it as a learned conduct. We have often heard this question, are you a positive person or are you not? And the point that I want to highlight here is the part of learned conduct. It means that although we may be more positive or less positive than another person, we can learn how to control these emotions, because this being positive or not, it's just a small part in comparison with what we can learn to control. And a very, very appropriate context is the classroom. In these moments that we are experiencing, how to help students acquire this positiveness, this learned conduct, is very important. I think that it's a part that should be highlighted, that we as teachers, we need to focus on, basically because of the moments we are experiencing, and let's say take advantage of them so as to extend those practices all along the academic year and our teaching life. And I want to remark this point with a quote that is mentioned in the article from Andy Cope, of course, which I found very, very important. And I quote here, just 10% of your happiness is due to external circumstances. What is left, the 90%, of course, comes from how you think. And of this part, we can learn how to take control of it, how to be in control. So we as teachers, let's help our students to be in control of this 90%, so as to make them, let's say, acquire a positive psychology, which is more than needed in these times and the learning context. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye.